What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett.
I'm Lance.
This is Rants or Us. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. We're on the road to 1,000, and we hope you guys can help us get there. All right, Lance. So I'm going to pose a question to you. Do you believe that Cyborg should get his own movie after the Snyder Cut release and all the excitement that's around him? Because there was a planned Cyborg film out there. So I mean, do you think that they should maybe go through with it, since they did it with the Flash and with Wonder Woman and Aquaman as well, and Cyborg, Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg, is actually wanting the Flash director, if they do one, to be the director. What do you think about that? Oh, that was long-winded, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now, I personally would be okay with it. I know you have reservations and different beliefs on it.
Big reservations.
I wouldn't mind it. I actually really enjoyed Cyborg's story and everything like that to do with Cyborg in the Snyder Cut, where you weren't so much on board. But I also, part of me also believes that a character like Cyborg would shine better in like a series type thing on like the CW, or I say CW just because I know that's where DC does all their magic.
HBO Max, is going to
feature
of that too.
Yeah, so like when they get to that part next year sometime, I think that would be a good thing to do too, is on HBO Max, because then you can have it built around the older fans a little bit more than on CW, in my opinion. I know other people will argue with me about that, but
okay, this is where I stand on that. I felt like if there was any character that didn't need its own film after the Snyder Cut, it was probably Cyborg. I feel like they fleshed out a lot of Cyborg's past. I don't really, if they did the exact same thing, like where they're just like, hey, let's talk about how he became Cyborg, or did something along those lines, I feel like that would not work too well after seeing the Snyder Cut. I feel like if they went through where he was troubled and all this other kind of thing, I feel like that would go against what we saw in the Snyder Cut as well, because at the end,
that's the issue I kind of have. I don't think they would do the same backstory, because that was Snyder's vision. But now, with it being as popular as it has, if they don't, a lot of fans are going to be like, well, this is crap. We just wasted all this time getting to know this character through the Snyder Cut for no reason if you're going to change it. So I do feel like it would be difficult for them to do it and not try to use his version of it. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of people had a problem with his version of Cyborg, and so they might not would enjoy his backstory. So it's like dark waters to try to tread when it comes to the Cyborg character, I feel like. But
I feel like when it comes to Ray Fisher in general, I feel like Ray Fisher is a lightning rod that if I was Warner Brothers, I would not necessarily want to deal with him, simply because, yes, he might have been right about about Joss Whedon, but a lot of people are right about Joss Whedon. He might have kind of brought it a little bit more to light than what some other people, like Charisma Carpenter and all those others, off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, had tried to in the past, but it didn't successfully do it. But at the same time, he kind of felt like somebody that was pissed because he wasn't necessarily the star of the show. Wynn promised to be the star of the show, and I get it. But then at the same time, I'm kind of like, okay, man, I feel like I see where you're coming from, but are you saying this about Joss? Would you say this all these things about Joss Whedon if he would have left everything as is? Would you be praising the man now? I almost kind of feel like Ray Fisher, to a certain extent, would not have as big of a problem, as big of a beef with Joss Whedon if Joss Whedon would have kept him as the main star. I think it's less about the abuse that Joss Whedon gave and more about he took Cyborg out of the film. That's the way I feel towards the whole Joss Whedon, Ray Fisher controversy. I feel like as a movie, though, I feel like I'm not a huge. I was one of the few that did not actually enjoy the Cyborg part of it. I know a lot of people. You're in the majority when it comes to the Cyborg thing. A lot of people enjoyed that. That was some of their favorite part of the movie. It was one of my least favorite parts of the movie. Ray Fisher's acting, I thought, was horrendous.
You're definitely on the minority there, because most people I talked to were really excited about the backlog and backstory of Cyborg. So,
no doubt. I mean, so like, I get where you're coming from. Are we talking about whether or not it would be a success?
Like I said,
I think it would be a success. Probably not as big of a success as what, let's say.
Well, like I said, I do think that I would enjoy him more in a series role as Cyborg than I would just a 2-hour movie, though. Me personally. I mean, a lot of people disagree with that, but
see, I could watch a TV series of him. I don't necessarily think, the CW. I would say more on HBO Max, simply because he's more of a troubled character.
The reason I said CW is because that contract with HBO Max hasn't really gone into effect just yet. So that's where I was leaning with CW with the rest of the like Arrowverse type shows like Superman and Lois, and now possibly this is where my mind was. But once you reminded me of the HBO Max thing, I definitely think it would be better suited for HBO Max.
Yeah, I definitely think that the HBO Max would be a million times better when it comes to this.
Everybody can already see how the world is going. If they do just a 2-hour movie, we're going to get it on HBO Max when it hits theaters anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of feel like, HBO Max to me would be a million times better. It would really show the struggles that he's facing. They would really be able to go more in depth about it. It would, and you know what? It would actually, to be honest with you, be probably a pretty good show.
And see, that's something I wanted to. That was something like with the Snyder cut that I really enjoyed, was the Whedon's version was all colorful and pretty and superheroes, and this was more of a darker film. And I felt like if you were going to tell Cyborg's backstory, you couldn't have done it in Whedon's cut because it was just too. I don't know how to word it. Whedon's version was too kid friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Snyder's cut wasn't, but it had that darker, edgier feel that was vamped more towards adults.
I felt like Whedon's version of it was definitely geared more towards adults. I'm not going to say it's as dark as what a lot of people say it is, but it's still
Whedon's version.
I mean Snyder's version.
Okay.
I would say Whedon's version is really kind of like your typical superhero film. Snyder's cut, a lot of people are saying is really dark. I say a little bit in between.
I don't think it was like
darker than what Whedon's version was.
I don't think it was like.
But you cannot.
I'm not saying it's like pushing the envelope dark.
Do I?
Yeah. I wasn't saying that it's like pushing the envelope dark, but it was darker than Whedon's.
Definitely.
It was just. For me, it felt like it was Snyder's cut was built more for adults in our age group than what Whedon's was, and so I don't think you could have told that version of Cyborg's backstory in his version.
I don't think you could have either. I don't think it would have been completely and totally out of place. I understand why we.
So that's what I'm saying. If
because it wouldn't have fit in his.
If version. You were right, but if you're gonna go make a Cyborg movie or even a Cyborg series, you would have to go. Especially if it's based on that backstory, you would have to go to a network suited for that.
Yeah, and I feel like HBO Max would be the perfect fit for that. That way, you could go into depth about his depression, his the inner turmoil that. But the question is do you do a backstory or do you start off where Justice League left off? I would almost say start off where Justice League left off more, because I like that version of him better than the other version of him. I didn't enjoy the things with his dad. I didn't enjoy that back and forth, because I'm kind of like, I get where you're coming from, dude. Like, you're upset because you're a robot, but it was either that or you were going to be dead. Now you got all these powers. Now do something about them, with them. So I'm kind of like, you know what? I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy
but I do think he started to see that too.
Yeah, I think he did too.
Throughout.
He was there for a reason. He
could for
something better.
Yeah.
So, I mean, So, I mean, I think probably we're in agreement that it would be a decent series. You'd probably be more into the series of what I would be, simply because you liked his character more in the Snyder Cut.
But I also feel like I would be more into the movie than you would be as well.
I would not. Let's just put it this way: I would not be interested in the Snyder Cut's version of Cyborg's movie at all. I would have literally zero interest in that movie. I would be.
Yeah, see, we completely disagree there.
All right, I'm not even look, the Flash movie. I'm not really big into the Flash movie, but I have more interest in the Flash movie than what I do in a Cyborg movie. Like, Cyborg movie, I just don't.
No, see,
I just don't.
We're like completely different there. I
just don't like his. I don't like his acting. I don't like anything about his character in the Snyder film.
No, and I feel the same way about Ezra Miller. I don't. Nothing about that guy.
See, I actually really enjoyed Ezra Miller in the Snyder Cut. I won't say that I enjoyed him in Whedon's version, but I thought Ezra Miller did a really great job.
And again, with me, I've never been a Flash fan either.
Yeah. See, I love the Flash on the CW. I thought they did a decent job. Yes, they went a little bit too far with the whole.
Well, I mean, I'm going further back than even that. I mean, as a kid in the young, cartoons or comic books that I'd read, I wasn't a Flash fan. I just wasn't a Flash person, and so that plays into that with me. Is my interest in the Flash movie is just non-existent, just because I just never cared about that character anyway. And then you put Ezra Miller in the mix of it, and I just don't like that guy.
Yeah, I know. But see, with me, I didn't grow up really that much on comics. I'd read a comic book every now and then. Growing up in a small town, we didn't have the the things.
That's the thing. You grew up in a much smaller town than me.
Yeah.
Where I grew up, there was comic books all over the place, and so I was bigger into the comics as a kid than you were. Now, people be like, "Well, you don't act like you know anything about the comic." Well, that's because I quit reading them when I was like 11.
Yeah. But see, when it comes to the comics, I feel like you've got a taste of him in the comics. Where I'll tell you where I got the biggest taste of the Flash was in, let's say, the Justice League series, or the Batman and Superman cartoon. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, and those kind of things. Like that's when I got my taste of
that's what
the
that's
Flash.
what I was
really
kind
like the
of
Flash in that.
I wasn't a big fan of him even in like the Young Justice or the Justice League movie or TV series from when we were kids. I was never.
But I think
I was just never a big Flash.
I don't think that Ezra Miller by himself is going to make the Flash movie that good. I think they're going to have something more. They're going to have to build a story around him that's going to be excellent, because I don't think Ezra Miller as the Flash is going to be interesting enough. Now, if they do that, I feel like that movie could be something. But as far as Cyborg, if they rehash stuff that they did,
I feel like
it just wouldn't be good.
But I kind of feel like when it comes to the Flash and Cyborg, I feel like they would be good in movies together.
I think, you know what? I'd actually be really cool with that. I would. You know what? My kid is big into Teen Titans. I would love for Teen Titans Go or whatever it is. I would actually maybe love for like a Beast Boy Cyborg movie or something along those lines. That would be interesting, but I don't feel like Ray Fisher could play that part simply because Ray Fisher doesn't have the personality to fit that Cyborg version. And maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit hesitant with Cyborg, because I've never seen the troubled, sad Cyborg. I've always seen the upbeat Cyborg, the Cyborg that's serious. In the animated movies, he's very serious. He's doing things, but he's not like as troubled as what the Cyborg is in the Snyder Cut. I just felt like okay, dude, like let's get past this moment, and let's get to something interesting. I didn't enjoy that aspect of the Snyder Cut, but again, I think overall, I think it would be a bad movie, him by himself, but it would be a decent series that I would watch.
And I would. I mean, I see where you're coming from on that, but me personally, I would enjoy. I feel like I would enjoy it either way. Like I said, I do feel like him and Flash doing a movie together would still be better than either one of them by themselves.
Oh, I would agree with you 110%.
I thought that they had a lot of good banter between the two of those in the Snyder Cut, that I actually wouldn't mind seeing more of that.
I thought they had really good.
I feel like him and Ezra Miller had good. Yeah, and I that's what I'm saying. I think that Ray Fisher and Ezra Miller have really good chemistry together, like that. And we talk about that. We talk about that a lot. That good chemistry between two actors can make or break a show or a movie. So,
but see, I don't see Ray Fisher agreeing to do
no, because he wants to be the front. He wants to be at the front, and I don't really blame him for that to an extent. But so I don't see him really agreeing to that either. Maybe if it was like Flash can make a cameo in my movie, and he would be okay with that, but I don't think it would be okay with a Cyborg Flash movie. Like,
I could see maybe him. I can't see the team up of. I think the team up of those two would be really good, but I don't see Ray Fisher being for a team up when other people have got their own movies, and then he would have to share his movie. I think there'd be a lot of controversy.
That's going to be the big thing. Maybe that's what I'm saying. I think in order to get to that point, they would have to do a Cyborg movie, have Flash make an appearance maybe at the end in a little cameo spot, and then go from there to a Cyborg Flash movie.
Yeah, and I'd be cool
because if they don't give him his own movie, it's gonna be an issue. Which
I think we both agree though that a series would probably be better than a movie though.
I think we could agree on that.
I think that's definitely where we could find some agreement on that. is I would actually
when it comes to the cyborg character, it's going to take a lot for us to come to an agreement. But I do think we could come to agreement on the series more than we would the movie.
No doubt, and I think the Cyborg series, I would be at least somewhat interested in watching it, because I would feel like, okay, they can expand upon his character. They can show some villains that go along with it. It's not like they can add some characters around him. If it's Ray Fisher that's doing Cyborg, they could add some characters around him that would make this story a little bit more interesting. Maybe they can even show the depths of his despair to a certain extent. Even though I really wouldn't
but I do into it. I do worry with if they did a Cyborg in a series format, the longevity of the show. How far could that really go? Type thing. But
I'd say 3 seasons max.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see it being like a 7-season series like it was with Arrow and Flash.
No, I don't see it either.
So that would be my worry there, me getting invested into a series that I know isn't going to last very long. But
I feel like, even, you take the Flash, even on the CW, the Flash by himself is not an interesting character enough where that they have to add other characters around the Flash to make the Flash interesting. Where you take like a Batman or Superman, it's always invested around him, around those two characters.
Yeah,
and so I feel like Cyborg, until they did Superman, Aquaman, and all those kind of work that way. Do what?
I definitely would agree with you on that. I agree, and I would think that we would agree to this. The only reason I wouldn't want all these characters to have their own series is because eventually they're just going to be like, okay, well, we did this, let's do a Justice League series. And
I would not be for that.
I wouldn't be big on that. Like,
cartoon version.
I like the movies.
Cartoon version, I would be big on it.
Well, yeah,
but I'm saying not so big on it. No,
the thing about with the live action, I feel like is you would have to watch every one of those series and then go watch this one. Like, I'm not big on having to watch every show that's on your network in order for me to watch one show on your network.
If they start doing that, whether it be HBO Max or wherever, I'm going to lose interest in your show immediately.
Yeah.
Just simply because.
Now that's something we can agree on.
Yeah, because I will say this. That's where the CW completely screwed up. Is when you had to watch 10 different shows to be able to follow the show that you're actually interested in. I hated that. That is garbage television.
That's what got me out. That's what got me out of Arrow. I got into Arrow when it first came out. And then they started, I think it was season 4, they started talking about how they were going to bring in Flash, the show on to CW. And I was like, oh, well, I'll check that out. But then when it got to where I had to watch the Flash in order to know what was going on with Arrow, I was like, I'm done. I'm done with all of it.
I know. I was that way too.
All of them.
Yeah,
I quit watching Flash and the Arrow.
Yeah, I don't have the time of the day or the energy to. Maybe if I was a kid again, I would want to watch, all these different superhero shows, no matter what they are. But me, I was interested in 1 or 2 shows. I didn't want to watch all 10 shows that they were coming out with to be able to keep up with my show that I was watching. So yeah, I lost complete interest in that version of it. I hope that when all this stuff starts coming to HBO Max, they don't do that, because if they do that, I'm going to be done.
You're gonna as well. What I'm looking forward to, and I still haven't heard when it's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to Stargirl season 2.
Stargirl's
that's what I'm waiting on.
But again, that's one that they don't do all these, bring in these other different.
That's what I'm saying, and I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that with the HBO Max type stuff, because all this Stargirl, Superman and Lois. All this is just transition into their contract with HBO Max, and I don't think HBO Max is going to do that. Like,
I don't think they will either, simply because HBO Max knows that they can stand on their own, where the CW kind of feels like they don't have confidence in their own shows, that they feel like
the only crossover on CW that I wanted to get, we never got it, but I wanted a crossover between Supernatural and Vampire Diaries, where Sam and Dean just show up and kill all of them.
I would love that crossover. That would be the greatest to me. That actually should have been how both shows ended. But that's just me how that would. Hey, Supernatural Walker crossover, cool with that as well.
My point
I don't have a problem with that.
My point was, you're on a network that wants to do all these crossovers. Why didn't you at least give us a good one?
Yeah, I know. It's like, and why not just make it like when it was the Arrow and the Flash crossovers, I didn't mind it so much. But when it got to be Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, all these different crossovers, I'm like, dude, I don't. This was mine.
I did mind it. I didn't mind it the first time to introduce your new show. I thought that was a smart marketing choice. What I minded with, even when it was just Arrow and Flash, was I had to watch a certain order, because if I watched too much of Flash, I ruined something in Arrow. If I watched too much of Arrow, I ruined something about Flash. That I didn't like that. So that's what got me out of the Arrowverse completely,
But I think overall, when it comes to Cyborg, I think we disagree when it comes to the movies. I think it would suck. You think it'd be great. I think we agree.
I wouldn't say great, but I think it would be good.
Yeah, I think we agree that it would be kind of cool with the Flash Cyborg movie together. I don't think Ray Fisher would go with that, though.
No, I don't either.
But I will say, I think a TV series would work, and that's where we're in agreement on that one. But as always, guys, let us know what y'all think down in the comment section. Would y'all be excited about a Cyborg movie? Do you think it could stand on its own? Do you think it would be profitable for DC to do that, to go forward with that? Do you think Ray Fisher should still be Cyborg? What do y'all think? Let us know in the comment section. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. And y'all take care.